Okay, have you got a wine, Emma?
No, I don't actually. And I feel like that's a mistake. Can I just grab one real quick? Okay.
Hello, lovers. We've got a name.
Yes.
We have chosen a name for our podcast after you sent in names for us to pick from.
Which we loved.
We loved all of them. It was very, very hard to pick. But Emma, do you want to reveal our name?
Okay. Oh my God, we should have brought in a little drum machine so we can do a little drum roll. Okay, so the name of the podcast is my tongue drum. The Electric Rodeo.
Yay!
Emily Wrights and Emma Hewitt.
So you are now listening to the very first episode of Adulttoymegastore presents Electric Rodeo with Emily Wrights and Emma Hewitt. So we are so excited to have you with us.
We are. This is cool. Oh, I love our name so much.
I do love our name. Very, very grateful to the person who gave us our name, and they will win a Satisfyer wand.
Yes.
Yeah. So very exciting. As a first episode, we thought that we would set the tone by talking about, I guess, what's going to be a bit of a mission statement for us, Emma? Like, we want to talk about basically being a pleasure seeker and doing whatever you can to seek sensation and pleasure rather than orgasms. And Emma, do you want to talk about why this is important to us, this idea of like viewing time with yourself or time with your lover as being about sensation and pleasure, not orgasms?
Sure. Well, there's quite a few different reasons why it's really important to focus on sensation and pleasure rather than solely making orgasm the target of every play session. Number one, sometimes an orgasm is not actually achievable for everyone, and that doesn't mean that you should disregard whatever you're doing, whether you're playing with a partner or playing with yourself. It doesn't mean that it's bad, and it shouldn't mean that you failed in any sense. I think that sometimes when people don't reach an orgasm during sex or masturbation, it can be kind of disappointing. I've definitely felt that. I get that all the time. And so I think it's kind of about stepping out of having this goal for what signifies the end of your play session in any way, because so the experience is, what's the fun part about it? Getting your body warmed up, getting your body really receptive to touch, and exploring if you're playing with a partner and feeling that connection. There's so much more than just this 30 seconds of orgasm, I don't know if you're lucky, or 10 seconds, I think that there's just really a lot more to it. But it also is a great way to actually explore your body and understand your receptors to pleasure as well. So it's kind of a way to really slow things down. You get to explore a little bit more. You get to understand what feels good, what maybe doesn't feel good to you, but how it might if you stimulate it in a slightly different way to what you have been doing in the past.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that you said about having play sessions where you haven't had an orgasm or it just hasn't been right for you. Yeah. I think that nobody talks about that, do they? Because I definitely have heaps of times where I grab a toy or just use my fingers or something and it just doesn't work, and it's so frustrating.
So
there's nothing,
frustrating.
And I don't know why, but I just kind of thought, oh, that's a me thing. Yeah. And it's not. It's an everybody thing, isn't it?
It's absolutely an everybody thing. And because there's so many things that cause that as well. If you're super stressed out or if you can't focus on it, then for me in particular, there's no way I'm going to have an orgasm.
Yeah, I think women put so much pressure on themselves for orgasm, and probably men and other genders as well. Yeah. Just speaking as a cis woman here, I think that I see a lot of women putting pressure on themselves and thinking that their bodies are broken if they don't have an orgasm. Yeah. And I get a lot of feedback I tried the Satisfy Pro and I didn't have an orgasm, and
it can be really disheartening, I think, especially the Satisfy is a good example of this, because so many people really love it, and so many people have these anecdotes of, you know, being able to orgasm really, really fast or having the best orgasm that they've ever had. And so for someone maybe reading or hearing these reviews and then trying it and not liking it, and they're like, oh shit, what's wrong with me? But it's nothing to do with having anything wrong with you. It's just that that's not the right toy for your body. It's not the right kind of sensation for your body.
Or even it's not the right toy for that moment, because
exactly.
As you know, I'm a huge Satisfy Pro fan, but I have definitely had times when I've used it and not been able to orgasm.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of, I hear that narrative of I must be broken a lot.
Yeah.
Like people will say to me, I tried this and I couldn't, or I can never climax from penetrative sex, or I can never climax with a partner. I'm broken, or there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty common thing, especially for females, to talk like that. And especially like, come on, how many of us really are going to orgasm from penetration alone, you know? But I think that especially when you're younger, there's this kind of idea like, should I be orgasmic? Is this meant to feel way better than it does, you know?
Yeah, and maybe the whole... because I'm just going to put my hand up and be honest and say that I have definitely faked orgasms, especially as a teenager.
Emily writes.
I know. But the thing was, it kind of... I think that whole obsession with orgasms being the end goal makes you feel like if you don't orgasm, then there's something wrong with you, and you don't want anybody to think anybody's wrong with you.
Yeah,
so you fake
true.
an orgasm.
Yeah.
And I think that there's heaps of people like that. And I guess since like only recently I've started to kind of embrace this idea of being a pleasure seeker and having more extended play sessions where I don't put that pressure on myself to orgasm, because especially after 2 children, it's not that easy anymore to orgasm. Okay. Yeah. So I think talking about this idea of sensation and pleasure and taking the pressure off yourself to orgasm, what are some of the things that we can do to start that process of like opening ourselves up to being about pleasure and sensation and not orgasms?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to exploration of your body. You know, I am guilty of knowing that I orgasm really easy from clitoral stimulation when I'm playing by myself anyway, or when I have, you know, my trusty womanizer or the satisfier or whatever. And so a lot of the time I'll just like dive straight in and just do it and it's done. But I think that there's a lot to be said for not doing that, kind of avoiding that area in a sense. So you can stimulate, even for me, like even I never use vaginal toys. I will hardly ever use an internal toy. I do have a rabbit, which I like, but again, it's because primarily the clitoral stimulator. So even just exploring other avenues like that, so playing with an internal toy and maybe having that understanding that, okay, I'm not necessarily going to orgasm, but maybe I can find a new way to use this that feels really cool for me. Or maybe if I introduced my partner and he was stimulating my clitoris and I was using this toy, it would feel really cool. And it's just kind of, I think, reawakening your body a little bit to kind of become more receptive to different kind of touches than maybe what you depend on, because I depend on clitoral stimulation 100%. And when I do use another toy, sometimes I'm like, oh, that actually was quite surprising, you know? And then, of course, avoiding the clit altogether. But still stimulating the vulva. Is that what you were thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to talk about stimulating the vulva without clitoral stimulation. But first, I think because you've been honest, I'll be honest, I cannot remember the last time I have explored my body. I can't, because I mean, it's like what you said about, you know, clitoral stimulation works for you. I'm the same. When I've like have so little time that I'll jump in the shower with the Satisfyer Pro, or maybe the kids have gone for a walk with their dad and I'll be like, oh God, quick. Like, and I have to say, I give myself, I give myself a really short window of climaxing. So no wonder I'm starting to feel this pressure to orgasm in a really short amount of time, and it's ultimately not even that satisfying. So maybe our homework for me, you, our listeners, is to try, and I know how impossible this is for parents at home during lockdown, but even if you can stick the kids in front of a movie, is I don't know, or when they're asleep, I have no idea, but it's to try and dedicate, what do you reckon, Emma, like an hour to yourself?
Oh my God, I mean, that is luxurious, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can, I think that is a lot of time to really, really like
build
explore.
yourself up to what could be a really great orgasm, and if not, just a really wonderful, relaxing play session.
Exactly. It's just a time for you to connect with yourself and not have an interruption of anyone else as well.
Yeah. So let's start a kind of our homework assignment, what we need to do. And this makes me laugh so much because the other week I accidentally said in a team meeting that I'd had a really great guided penetration when I meant guided meditation. But actually, maybe we are literally going to have a guided penetration here.
Oh my gosh.
But no, okay. What we're going to do is we're in the future, we've laid a towel down, and essential stuff. We've got the lights down low, maybe put on a bit of like sensual music.
Yeah.
We've got
some slow jazz.
Yes, and we're going, I'm not like imagining it, I just
she definitely is. I can see her face and I'm telling you right now.
I'm imagining falling asleep.
She's imagining
I'm
it.
so tired. So you've got like a good lube, maybe Uber Lube. You've got that with you. Uber Lube's amazing. So you've got Uber Lube on your hands. Now, Emma, take over. What are we going to do?
Okay. First up, let's check the levels of the Uber Lube, because you want a really nice slippery amount, but you don't want too much, because otherwise it's going to reduce some of the sensation that you're feeling. And because you're not going quite into the clitoris, which is the most sensitive part, you really want to make sure that you can feel everything that you're doing. So, as I said, we're avoiding the clitoris, okay? So do not dive directly in with your little Uber lubey fingers. We want to work around. So we're lying down on our lovely towel with our fabulous music, and you just want to start exploring the vulva area. So this sounds really weird, but a good tip that I actually read, because it helps to stimulate blood flow into the area, is to like lightly tap on your vulva, which is quite a weird thing to do, I think. But really good. So it does actually start to stimulate, and it gets the blood flow into the area, which is what is going to make you feel sensation. So there are lots of different techniques that you can do here. You can start doing little, like, kind of rolling your fingers together a little bit. So just kind of getting little pieces of the fleshy kind of areas in your fingers and just really lightly massaging that area. You can stroke up and down along the labia. So you want to go inside and outside. And obviously some of this is going to indirectly stimulate the clitoris as well. So some of what you're feeling is going to be indirect clitoris stimulation, because as we all know, the clitoris is actually a lot larger than it looks from the outside. And some of it will just be the stimulation of the vulva, which is still a really sensitive area. So for me, I like to go right down to the back as well. So I like to get like quite close to the opening of the vagina, because that's a really high area of sensitivity for me. It feels really good. So just massaging that area and kind of like nice long strokes around that area. And you can just do whatever you want. So you can cup your hand and kind of rub over the labia a little bit, and again, that's actually a really good one for indirect stimulation of your clitoris. But it's just about exploring. So you just want to do whatever feels good to you, and just try out different things with your fingers, because you can stroke, you can flick, you can roll, you can tap, you can do whatever, and it's literally just about finding out what feels good for you. And if something doesn't feel good, then just don't do it. Like, it's your hands, you're in charge.
Yeah, I think it feels like when I used to be like watching something on TV and something really sexy came on, like when I was younger or something, you know, when you kind of like cross your legs and you kind of clench and all that,
to feel some things going on.
I guess it's kind of that idea of like moving your body as well, like writhing around a bit,
definitely
clenching.
Yes, lots of internal clenches.
Yeah,
that always helps me as well.
Yeah,
I really
and kind of maybe like what I have done before. It's been ages. I don't know why I haven't done more of a session. I think you forget to do that. Like you're just like quick wham bam, thank you ma'am, quickies, you know. But pinching your clitoris, like not your clitoris, your whole labia, kind of over your clitoris, like in a kind of it's really hard to explain. I'm using my hands showing, but it's hard to do. But it is exactly what you said, that you can't really get it wrong, can you? You just try your, like, all of these ways, pressing on your hips. And lots of people say vocalizing helps a lot. I certainly think that it does. If I make noise myself, not like weird like humming or anything, but if it's starting to but if I start to like moan or anything indirectly, like if I don't mean to, it's the hottest thing when you're like, I didn't even mean to, and you know, but I've heard vocalizing really helps with climax. So
no way.
Yeah.
That's new to me. No, interesting.
I mean, I always think of it as like, remember when we were teenagers, maybe it was just me, but when you were like always dry humping? Like, I just felt like
other people or furniture or my pillow.
My pillow, probably a lot, while I was dreaming about Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Who was your crush then? Who were you? That's very gay to be hot for Jonathan Taylor Thomas, because he looks really like the most, like, he looks like a very beautiful lesbian.
He does. That's actually a very, very fine description of him, isn't it?
Thing. If you loved like Zach from Hanson, you're gay now. Also Taylor from Hanson.
I think anyone in Hanson.
And you're gay now, because you know, like that most soft femme boys.
Yeah, that's true.
I humped a lot of pillows too, soft femme boys. You haven't revealed. Are you just letting me sit in my shame?
No, I'm just letting you go. It's hilarious. No, I was when I was a teenager, I was a real emo. So I was like, this is prior to emo though, but this was like my awakening, was like the Good Charlotte gang.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What was his name? Because it was my first
or
ever.
Benji Madden?
No, neither of the brothers. I'm gonna have to Google this to find out.
Another person in Good
I think
Charlotte?
There were 4 of them.
That is outrageous.
But the brothers always liked to take that spotlight. They weren't keen on.
Oh, twin fantasy.
Yeah. But it was like the first concert that I ever went to, Wellington Town Hall. And I had my little Supre skirt on.
Oh, yeah.
And I borrowed my sister's chucks, but she had like the high lace up the leg ones.
Wow.
And I tell you what, it was like...
That's a look.
A real fine. And me and my friend Chelsea were like yelling. I can't remember his name, but we were just like yelling out his name. We were like stood directly in front of him.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It was a really beautiful time.
Yeah, I went to Hull at the Enmore Theatre in Sydney.
Amazing.
And Courtney put her foot on the amp and masturbated. And I was just like,
my God.
Oh my God. So
I'm sexually awakened.
I'm sexually awakened, and then I just never stopped touching myself.
No, it's been a constant thing ever since.
But I mean,
that is amazing.
It's interesting because I really didn't, as a teenager, never touched myself, actually, but would dry hump a pillow like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, really?
And it actually took me a long period of my life to actually start touching myself because I had a real religious hangover of like, it's really bad for you. It's like the devil's doorbell.
Devil's typewriter.
But I think, you know, we all come with so many different reasons why touching our bodies might be difficult. You know, not just like religious background, but things like if we've had any kind of trauma sexually, or if we struggle with body image. So many women do not have positive body image, which is thoroughly unsurprising in the society that we live in. But there are lots of reasons why actually laying down and touching yourself is difficult. And not just, I mean, that's not even going into the idea that for a lot of women, actually saying you deserve an hour where you're not serving your children or your community or your husband or your wife or all these things is very difficult. So
it is. It's seen as a luxury, right? To take an hour for yourself, just for you.
Yeah.
When you've got people to look after or things to be doing.
Totally, but it's crucial because it's no wonder we're starting to feel disconnected to our bodies and feeling all this pressure around climax and being a sexual person and feeling like our bodies are broken if we can't do these things because of all the extra baggage we have on us.
Exactly.
So I really hope that maybe we can do this homework this week, even if it's 10 minutes that you take where you just feel your body. If anything, it's going to be relaxing, right? Hopefully. And go back to that feeling of when you're a teenager of dry humping without the expectation that, you know, it's going to lead to something. Or, you know, part of what made that so like hot when you were a teenager was it was all you could do.
Yeah.
You know, and so maybe returning to that feeling of like illicitness of not being able to touch yourself or have penetration, maybe buying into that, you know, during your guided penetration.
Your guided penetration. This episode is going to be called Your Guided Penetration. I mean, it's so true though, right? Like turn it into like a little game for yourself. Whichever area is your favourite area, you ain't allowed to touch it for an hour.
Yeah.
And you get to explore your body. And don't forget your boobs as well.
Yeah, because that, you know, I have only recently started touching my nipples again, and that's because I breastfed 2 babies. And anybody listening who has children will know the strange kind of love-hate relationship you have with your breasts when you have children, because they really stop feeling like your own, and they really feel like they belong to somebody else. They can hurt a lot. I lost complete sensation in my nipple in one of them. And another one I had like, I won't go into it, but it was gross. Mums who've breastfed know how bad shit can go down when you're breastfeeding a child with teeth.
I'll trust you, I won't ask questions.
One day, Emma, that might be your future, or maybe not. But I only recently, and my youngest is 5 now, realised that I have got feeling back in my nipples. So I just want to say to anybody listening who was really sad, because I was super sad. I had great tits, great nipples, and now I have
still got great tits.
Oh, thanks.
You got those out on that Zoom a couple of weeks ago, and we're all into it.
But now I finally can feel my nipples again. So you do have these kind of, I'm glad that I kind of started to touching them again and moved beyond that feeling to try and reclaim this part of my body back.
Yeah, it's like a central part of your body.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it now, and especially a Satisfyer Pro on your nips.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
You've tried it.
I have.
I've never done that.
Haven't you? Well, you
wonder.
need that for your guided penetration.
Yeah, okay, that can be me.
I love
That'll be
it.
my
I
homework.
love a Satisfyer on your nips. Like, it just fits perfectly into the hole of the Satisfyer Pro.
I can imagine it does. It's a real nipple-sized hole.
Yeah, it's great.
The nipple nozzle.
The nipple nozzle. Yeah, so I have just started to now be a bit more like paying attention to my nipples, and just trying to feel a bit better about my breasts, and like trying to stop myself when I like look down and feel sad about how they look now. I kind of stop myself straight away and try to stop that voice that says, oh, they're gross now, they aren't the same now, you know, all those things, because I think we have to really start looking at our bodies and saying, would we say that about our best friend's body? Because we would never talk about our friend's body that way. And
I don't think we'd be friends anymore.
But I think, and rightly so, don't let any friend talk to you like that.
No way.
But I think in lockdown, what we're asking of our listeners is quite a big thing, because they have to find that time, but then commit to using some of that time just for them when they have those societal pressures not to give themselves time. But also, I don't know if anybody else is feeling the same way, but I'm really struggling with my body during lockdown. Like, I feel like I feel sluggish and very tired, and I feel like I usually don't notice my weight fluctuations that much. I'm pretty chill about it, but I've really noticed it right now. So I guess if there's any other people listening who feel the same way, aren't feeling that confident in their bodies right now, maybe this will help us. I
think so. I think that becoming really aware of your body as something that can bring you a lot of pleasure in a lot of different ways is actually a really nice way to bring some good positivity towards your own body, understanding that there are these areas of your body that can give you this like amazing feeling of pleasure and relaxation, and you know, even just touching it can help to de-stress you. It's pretty amazing, and I think that it's a nice part of kind of that reconnection and being able to have good feelings towards it when maybe that doesn't actually come that naturally to you. I find that with like me a lot, because even though I'm quite small, I still have lots of, you know, body hang-ups and stuff, and even just being at home as well, like I've not been dressing very well, I've not been really caring what I look like, but then every time I look in the mirror I'm like, oh, you look gross, and like I have not been feeling sexual at all during this lockdown. And even like I got a wand last week. I haven't even used it properly yet. I've only used it on my back, and normally I'm like right in when I get something new, but I think just we have so much time on our hands to be at home and kind of, I don't know, look at myself in the mirror all the time for some reason, and it's I'm not seeing myself in a positive way, and I think that's probably pretty common for a lot of people at the moment.
Yeah, and you're so right about that not feeling sexual thing, because that's exactly how I feel. I don't feel like the kids ever leave me alone long enough to do anything, and then I'm trying to have these like really hurried quick flicks, as it were, and it's just not working, and that makes me feel frustrated. So I think this is a really good homework task, and no pressure if anybody just can't do it, because we know what it's like, and we'll make attempts, and maybe next week we'll find neither of us did it, you know, but I think it's a good thing to try. Now I am going to use my Uber Lube, and if you don't know, Uber Lube is a really great, it's a hybrid lube, isn't it? Silicone and water lube.
Oh, I actually don't know the answer to that.
Well, it's a great lube. I think it's definitely silicone, because it lasts a long time in the bath and shower, which is what you need for those play sessions, where you've got water involved, because otherwise it will just wash away. I have to say as well, Wet Stuff is just a really great lube. What lube do you use?
So I use Uber Lube.
Yeah.
And I actually use a few different ones. I use Boy Butter for my oil-based lubricant. And then I've got Swiss Navy water-based lube at the moment, which I actually really love.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It wasn't till I started working at Adult Toy Megastore that I realised how many freaking lubes are out there.
Oh, my God, there are so many.
And you try some and you're like, I don't like this one.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's funny, it's one of those things that you just think, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Like, the formulations are obviously all the same. And they are not.
I literally had the same tragic KY from the supermarket for like 3 years before I started at HMS, and now I've got like a 1 kg
like pump at the top.
I've got a pump at the top one. I swear. And Uberlube and the Satisfier, the new Satisfier Classic Lube, which people love that. I actually find it too watery. But other people really love it.
I haven't tried them.
Yeah, but thinking about it, the Satisfy lube that's quite watery could be really great for like a massage.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
If it's nice and thin,
yeah,
but, like
it's
nice
very
and long
thin.
lasting. Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll be using that. And I think the toy that I might give a try this time is maybe a glass toy.
Ooh,
because you can kind of roll that around a little bit without going full, like, I know that if I had a toy that was a clitoral stimulator, I'd just use it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to help yourself, right? But at least with the glass toy, it's nice and weighted as well, so it'll actually feel really good for just like massaging, like, internally and externally too, though.
Yeah.
It feels super nice.
Should we give away a glass toy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, we would love to hear your feedback on this episode, and we would love to hear your questions. So if you comment on this post on the ATMS Facebook page or my Facebook page, Emily Wrights NZ, we will pick a winner and we'll send them a glass toy. Sounds good, yeah. What toy are you thinking? Are you going to use a toy or are you just going to use fingers?
I actually have a little go-to one that I use when I am going for just no toy play, even though it's a toy. But it's the Fin by Dane. So it's a little finger vibe. And it's really soft silicone and it's really light. It's like super light vibration and it's got this nice like bulbous bit. It does actually have this little tiny like ledge on it that's real nice on your clit, but if I'm doing no clit play, then the wider part of it feels really amazing. I really like it like down the bottom of my vulva, like towards the vagina area, and so it's kind of like my little go-to for just like a real relaxing play, and it's really cute. It's like a little teal green.
Adorable.
Yeah, I love it. And it slits, oh my god, can you see? It slits into your fingers.
That is
just
so
like
cute.
that. Yeah.
You
it's
have
really
the
awesome.
best toys. I'm so at the beginning of my toy journey because
I've been here a while.
Those are so great. So we're going to put a link to the, what was it called again? The Dane.
It's the Fin by Dane.
Fin by Dane.
Yeah.
Is that F-I-N-N? Or
one
just
N,
one N?
F-I-N.
F-I-N by Dane. And have we got it on Adult Toy Megastore?
Yeah, we do. We've got 2 colours.
Great.
Very nice. Yeah.
All right, so you know the deal. Adult Toy Megastore, and then wherever you are in the world, so .com.co.uk, .com.au, .co.nz. I think that's all of it, is it? Yeah.
I think
so wherever you are, we are delivering right now, and you can look up those products, but also we have a whole section for lubricant. So I know that since I started buying lubricant at Adult Toy Megastore instead of the supermarket, it's changed my life. So
I bet it has.
Because I think people really do just think, oh well, there's KY and what's the other one? Durex.
Yeah.
But there's actually...
And they're just really recognisable names,
yeah,
you know.
and they're fine, but it's like then you try Uberlube and you're like, holy.
Yeah. Everything else gets forgotten once you try Uberlube.
Yeah. And the great thing about Uberlube is if you're stuck out and about and for some reason all you have in your bag is Uberlube.
It happens to the best of us.
You can. That must be just a I work at a sex shop thing, eh?
It's gotta be, eh?
But I have used it so many times where I've been like, oh, moisturise my legs quickly, or, you know, put the flyaways for hair, and the other one is chub rub on your thighs. If it's a real hot day and your thighs are rubbing together, then there you go.
That is genius.
Yeah, so look up lubricant at Adult Toy Megastore. Treat yourself with some good lubricant. I really recommend wet stuff as well. That is a great lube, and just get a big amount, because then you don't feel bad if you use lots. And in my opinion, you should use lube every single time you have a session. Okay, is that us, Emma?
I think so.
Okay, well, enjoy your homework, everyone.
And don't forget to flick us an email if you want to and tell us how it goes.
Yeah.
Emily at Adulttoymegastore.co.nz. That was so clear.
Yeah, she's only had one cider. All right, well.
Oh, God.
May all your ups and downs be in the bedroom. And we will see you very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.